You just heard something. Something moves in the dark, and before you have decided anything, before you even know what it was, a sound is already leaving your body. You didn't choose it. You couldn't have stopped it. By the time the thinking part of you arrives, the scream is already in the air. Everyone in earshot just felt it too. Their heads snapped toward you. Their hearts sped up. A room full of people, frozen, in well under a second, by one sound, from one throat. No other noise you make does that. So, before we explain why, let's take a look at us. Humans. A quirky look at the most fascinating creatures on Earth. Watch the human make ordinary sounds. It speaks, it laughs, it sings, sometimes badly. All of these come out smooth, gentle rises and falls, easy on the ear. There's a number under that smoothness. Ordinary speech changes loudness about 4 to 5 times a second. Slow, rolling, pleasant. And then, danger. And the same animal makes a sound that obeys none of those rules. A scream is not loud speech. It is a different thing entirely. Where speech wobbles 4 times a second, a scream flickers 30 to 150 times a second, far too fast for the ear to smooth out. Scientists have a name for this jagged quality. They call it roughness. And here is the first clue that something deliberate is going on. That rough band, 30 to 150, sits in a gap. Nothing else the human voice does for pleasure or conversation goes there. The scream has the whole frequency to itself, an empty channel, reserved, waiting. So this is the puzzle. Why would a body keep one sound, its most violent, least pleasant sound, walled off in a private frequency that nothing else is allowed to use? To find out, we have to stop listening to the scream and go and look at the brain that hears it. Every other sound the human hears goes through the front door. A voice, a song, a closing door. It arrives at the ears and travels to the auditory cortex, the part of the brain that works out what a sound is. It's a sensible system. Sound comes in, gets identified, gets understood. In 2015, a team at New York University put people inside a brain scanner and played them sounds, speech, music, alarms, and screams to watch where each one landed. Most sounds did the expected thing. They lit up the hearing brain and stopped there, but the rough ones, the screams, did something else. They reached past the hearing brain entirely and lit up the amygdala, the fear center, the oldest alarm system the animal owns, and the rougher the sound, the harder that fear center fired. Roughness wasn't just heard, it was treated as danger, automatically, before any thinking took place. This is the part worth sitting with. A scream doesn't ask the brain to feel afraid. It walks in through the alarm door and switches the fear on directly. The understanding comes afterwards, if it comes at all, which is why a scream makes other people react faster than almost anything else can. The signal skips the cue. It is built, very precisely, to bypass thought. So now we know what the scream does to a listener. It is a key cut to fit one specific lock in another animal's head. But a key is only worth having if there's something it needs to open. And to see that, we have to ask who the scream was ever for. Picture the animal it used to be. Out in the open, in a group, in a world full of things with teeth. One member sees the predator first, and in that instant, a problem. The danger is real, but only one pair of eyes has seen it. Everyone else is still grazing, still dozing, still unaware. A smooth, pleasant sound would be useless here. It could be missed, ignored, slept through. What this moment needs is a sound that cannot be ignored by anyone. A sound that forces every head to turn whether they like it or not. So the scream isn't really an expression of fear at all. It's a transmitter. Its entire job is to take the fear inside one animal and install it instantly in every animal nearby. And it works because of that private channel from Act 1. By living in a frequency nothing else uses, the scream never gets lost in the noise of an ordinary day. The brain can keep one line permanently open, listening only for that. An empty channel is a channel that's always clear. Now, the same animal owns a second version of this siren, and it never had to learn it. The infant cry runs on identical logic. A newborn can't fight, can't follow, can't feed itself. It has exactly one tool for staying alive, and that tool is a sound engineered to be unbearable to ignore. It uses roughness too. It reaches for the same alarm door. The cry is so old it runs below thought entirely. In the ancient brainstem, the part we share with creatures that branched away from us a very long time ago. 2 sirens then. One you're born broadcasting. One you keep for the rest of your life. Both built from the same rough sound. Both aimed at the same door in someone else's head. The animal screaming has no idea it's running a transmitter. It feels only terror and a sound tearing out of it. It could never tell you why, but its body knew exactly what it was doing. So walk back to the dark, to the thing that moved, and the sound that left you before you decided anything. That sound wasn't panic spilling out. It was a 2-million-year-old broadcast going out on a private frequency to every brain within reach. The reason you couldn't stop it is that it was never routed through the part of you that stops things. It was already past thought before thought woke up. And the reason the whole room turned, that wasn't them choosing to care. That was your scream, doing the one thing it was built to do, reaching through the alarm door in each of their heads and switching it on before a single one of them understood why. You didn't make a noise in the dark. You fired a siren 2 million years old, and every human who heard it answered, exactly as designed, before they even knew they had. And then, of course, the lights come on. It was a coat on a chair. Nothing was hunting anyone. The human stands there, heart hammering, faintly embarrassed by its own perfect ancient alarm. And that's the joke the body will never get. It can't tell a predator from a coat, and that is exactly why you're still here. The screams that waited to be sure are not your ancestors. Next time we look at another strange habit of this animal, the way it can stand in a room full of people it has known for years and still feel completely, helplessly alone. If you'd like to keep watching the most fascinating creature on Earth, make sure you subscribe. We post a new specimen every other day. Humans, there's nothing quite like us.